Now, looking at Chris Coleman from the outside in, he seems to be one of the main protagonists, one of the main people that was involved in team bonding, getting the lads motivated, maybe even Tuesday night sort of going out sessions. How did he handle the transition from being in charge of everybody and being a real part of the core social group to then being the person that's responsible for everybody not going out on a Tuesday night and putting it in training?
Yeah, I think he got the balance I think he done it quite well, because it must have been difficult because he was so close as a team, so close as teammates. Obviously, he went for that horrific car accident, got himself back, then started doing his coaching. Was coaching a lot under Tigana, and obviously when Tigana went, he stepped in. So he did. Some managers, would just literally do it the wrong way and just shut off and don't talk to the players, and you'd think, hold on a minute, you were one of us. But I think he done it quite well. He mixed, but then dropped out, mixed and then dropped out. So because he knew as a player that managers have to, we knew what he was like as a player. We knew what he was like as a character, and we respected him, to be fair. So I think no matter which way he would have gone, I think the players would have responded, because he was a great player, and was obviously his career was cut short due to his injury. But then he was such a great person on and off the pitch, so all the lads respected him. All the lads wanted to do well for him, and I think that was the case. We'd done so well. We actually played well under him for the last whatever it was of the season, and stayed up. And then he obviously went on to do bigger and better things and coach Wales. But yeah, he managed it well, because it was a difficult situation with him. Obviously, from one weekend you're going out having a laugh and a joke with the lads to not you're the manager, you can't really be doing that anymore. So yeah, he got the balance right.
It's at that point that you're playing well enough to attract interest from England. Yeah. You're sort of spoke about as being potentially a big player for England, and old manager Kevin Keegan, rightly so, gave you that accolade early on in your career. Can you talk to me about being called up to the Australia squad with England, and how you felt, and how proud you was about that moment?
Yeah, obviously I was a part of the under-21 squad, so I kind of was with them for a year or so. Went to the European Championships, which didn't go great for us as a team, but it was a good experience. It was a nerve-wracking one, actually, because it was a midweek game, so I wasn't there that long. It was meet up at the hotel.
This is for the Australia game?
Yeah, for the Australia game. Meet up at the hotel. I think the hotel was in Canary Wharf. I knew a few of the younger lads. Obviously I played in the 21s with Ashley Cole, John Terry and Scott Parker and people like that. But it was very cliquey for me. Londoners and Northerners. It seemed a bit cliquey to me. But it was such a short trip that you couldn't bond or really. Everyone had their own room. Yeah. So you're either in your room, meeting, training, in your room, meeting, training. So it was weird. And then there was like 24, 25 players, and I was like, there was one or two of us. I think Scott Parker maybe didn't get on, or Matty Upton didn't get on. But I didn't play at all. So it was a proud moment. But don't get me wrong, it was a strange environment, because you want to play, you didn't play. You think, what am I doing here? Do you know what I mean? It was really, really strange atmosphere. And we trained once or twice, so I couldn't really impress too much. And that was my only real experience. I didn't really get another call up after that, so it was kind of, okay, it was a strange one. It was a proud moment, obviously. Obviously, I would have loved to have got on, and it was obviously, I think, Rooney's debut as well.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, Rooney, I think he did, here Franny Jeffers scored. Him or Franny Jeffers scored anyway, but it was a weird environment, because it seemed a little bit cliquey to me. No one really got on, but it was just, there wasn't enough time. I'd have loved to have been in a longer camp where it was over a longer period, maybe trained every day, and then it might have been a different outcome for me. But that's just the way it was, and I still got the shirt at home, even though I didn't use it, but it's still there.
Seems like quite an anticlimactic moment for yourself. Yeah, all the joy and the pleasure of being selected, to then have that sort of come back at you. It seems like quite a hard thing to deal with.
Yeah, because I'm always one, I don't want to just go and make up the numbers. I'm just not going to be happy to be there. And obviously there was two teams, one first half, one in the second half. And when you're not involved in any of them, and you're thinking, am I even going to get a game here unless someone gets injured? It's difficult to take. Obviously you're proud to be there and you want to impress, but I didn't really get the opportunity, so it was kind of short-lived. And then it was a weird one, because after the game they lost 3-1. And it was like, before the even manager came in to give his team talk. Most of the players have got showered, gone, and
Really?
yeah, it was like really crazy. Yeah, like, I remember just getting in the shower, getting changed, and then going, and it was like there wasn't even any debrief or this or that. It was just it was a weird situation. Proud moment, obviously, but one that maybe could have been different if it was a different scenario or a different kind of game, or if it was a European qualifier or something. It might have been different because it was a friendly and we lost. It was a bit of an anticlimax.
You did play 12 games for the under-21s. Do you hold on to that memory more than, say, for instance, the memory of the Australia and training with the team? Is that your memory of England more important as an under-21 levels with them great players that you played with?
Yeah, definitely. I played with some really good players at under-21 level. We qualified as well for the European Championships in Switzerland, which was good. My old man came over to watch a few of the games. Obviously John Terry was involved, David Dunn, Scott Parker, Jermaine Defoe, Jermaine Pennant, Gareth Barry. Good squad. Zach Knight, who was at Fulham with me, we were good friends as well. We were living together, so it was a great atmosphere, and those are the memories I take behind, obviously, making your debut for the 21s, and played quite well for the 21s. David Wilkinson was the manager first, then Platty came in, and then there's other managers you learn from. But yeah, it was all in all, the 21 experience was good, and I really, when I look back now, that was probably one of the good times in my career.
So at this point, again, you're playing well enough to get some recognition from other teams, people interested in signing you. I know there was a lot of transfer and speculation regarding a move to Everton, regarding a move to Middlesbrough. Having spent so long at Fulham and come through the youth system, the academy, was it a hard decision for you to make or to think about leaving that club?
Yeah, it was. Obviously, looking back now, I've done loads of interviews where I've said if I could change it, I wouldn't go.
Really?
Yeah, I wouldn't go, to be fair. Knowing what I know now, that's that saying, the grass isn't always greener on the other side. But at the time, I remember the Everton one, I actually went up to Everton. I remember before I went up to Everton, I had a conversation with Cookie at the time, and he went, "Listen, I can't let you go." I went, "Yeah, but they've come in for me. I think the club's moving forward. We're still playing at Loftus Road." And he was like, "The only way I'm going to let you go is if you put in a transfer request." Put in a transfer request. Obviously, then they let me go. Went to Everton, had a medical, failed the medical. It was bruising, actually. I had bruising on my knee, and 6 months earlier they had the same player, the same bruising, but he didn't play for them. So they decided to not sign me. I had picked out a flat in the docks in Liverpool. Everything was sorted, and then it was like, my agent sat me down. He went, "No, they're not signing you. You failed a medical." So I went back to Fulham, having put in a transfer request, played that weekend.
It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Played, got booed. Got booed for the 2 or 3 games, and then we played Everton, who obviously scored against them. Played the rest of the season.
Did that go some way to easing what had happened?
Yeah, the fans are very fickle, I think. You know what I mean? If they see you giving 110%, they're eventually going to know. It was just one of those. I've just felt like it was the right move for me. Was it the right move? I don't know now. Obviously, it wasn't because it didn't happen, but I went back to Fulham and done well, you know what I mean? Trying my hard, end up playing against Everton and scoring. So it was weird they didn't sign me, do you know what I mean? It was only a bruising on the knee, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I ended up playing the rest of that season, playing really well, and then obviously I made the move to Spurs in the summer.
Quite surreal, picking out a flat at the Albert Dock one week thinking, wow, this is a bit of me. Next week you're having to go back and deal with the people effectively you've said that you don't want to be around anymore. Must have been quite an awkward atmosphere, to say the least.
It was more awkward playing in front of them, getting booed. But you just got to get on with it. There's no point crying over spilt milk, is there? It's like the only way you're going to win them back is if you put in good performances. The only downer was, is my knee all right? But I played every game. I was still playing. I wasn't injured when I had the medical, so it was a strange one. It was always in the back of my head, is my knee actually going to be all right in the long term, or is it not? But to be fair, in the long term, it wasn't, because that's what ended my career. But it was a strange environment. But like I say, I loved everyone at Fulham anyway. I loved the groundsman, I loved the dinner lady. I lived with Zach Knight at the time. I had really good friends there. I was in and around the area. Parents lived local, so it wasn't that much of a wrench to come back, if I'm honest.
Speaking to you, it seems like a bit of a regret from yourself for handing in that transfer request. Is that something that's played on your mind as the years and time's gone by?
Yeah, I think at the time I needed to do it to get away, but if I could go back in time, I don't think I would have done it. I think it was probably a bit of bad advice from people around me, maybe, but at the end of the day, I made that decision, so I can't really contradict my. Yeah, you know what I mean. But I wanted to know, because remember at the time Everton, Rooney was coming through, they were getting in the Champions League, and I wanted to see how far I could go. You know what I mean? This little boy from Battersea who's come up from the league, Clapham Little League, you know what I mean, and then playing for Fulham in League Division 3, then Division 2, then Division 1, then the Premier League. It's kind of how far can I go? You know what I mean? I didn't really get the opportunity to do that at Everton, but I obviously got that opportunity when I went to Spurs, which then didn't end too well.
French manager Santini.
Signed me, yeah.
French manager Santini signed you. What was it like, and was it a hard decision to make the choice to switch over to another London club?
It was a difficult choice because Cookie really wanted me to stay. And obviously I'd done it before and it didn't work out. And people always thought it was for mine. I was actually getting more to stay at Fulham, if I'm honest.
Seriously?
Yeah, it wasn't no more to go to Spurs. It wasn't like what it is nowadays. These are offering you 50 grand more to go. No, I wasn't even earning more than 20 grand a week at the time. So it wasn't for the money. It was, can I play, and how far can I play Champions League? Can I win cups? Can I win tournaments? Because I always wanted to win stuff. Because looking back now in my career, what do I hold in most regard? Winning the Championship with Fulham. Winning, you know what I mean? That was what I was a part of, and that's what I was a part of Fulham's history, getting 101 points, being in the team, getting in the PFA team. That's what you look back at. So I wanted to go and try and win some stuff, and obviously I never forget shaking Cookie's hand when I left, which was a bit awkward. But then I joined Spurs, and the rest is history, really. Obviously I started there quite well, but then I got injured, and then I was fighting injury for most of my career there.
As you said, you made the switch to Tottenham, having made 238 career performances for Fulham. Great achievement, playing in every division for the club as well. Huge accolade. What was it like at Tottenham? And it seemed in some ways as the move that you craved at the time, if you like, that chance to prove yourself with, again, at a higher level. What was it like going into that Tottenham squad? Yeah,
it was good. I knew a few of them. I knew Robbie Keane, I knew Michael Carrick. I knew a few of the younger lads that were there. So I just was eager to get in there. It was obviously a bit nervous when you join a new team. It's like joining when you're a young kid and you go for the first day at school, isn't it? I think as a player, you always want to impress your teammates. Once you get the respect of your teammates, then everything else is easy. Do you know what I mean? So gaining that respect, which I thought I did. I went in there, I done okay. Then I got injured after about 4 or 5 games, which I was out for about a couple of months, and then I came back and I was in and out of the team, and I was playing, but I was having injections because the knee was still sore, which I regret now. Obviously, I was injecting, I don't know, cortisone, whatever it is, and to be fair, in the long run, it doesn't help your career. So I would advise any young player not to, have those kind of injections, because it just sweeps everything under the carpet and it doesn't take the problem away. But I think they're more clued up nowadays with the sports science and that. But yeah, so I eventually, and obviously the manager got the sack. Martin Yole came in, and he was asking me, to play and, try and grind it out. So I grinded it out, and then obviously, I was injured for the next season. And then
pre-season as well.
Yeah, well, I was injured for the pre-season, and then they signed Edgar Davids, Jermaine Jenis. What chance you got? Do you know what I mean?
Top of Michael Carrick, Pedro Mendes as well in the squad. Great player, old Pedro.
Yeah, Pedro, obviously, I've got a good history with Pedro. We ended up signing for Spurs at the same time, and then we moved to Portsmouth at the same time. So I knew what qualities he had, but my time there was up. Obviously, the club wanted to get me out. They were doing all sorts to get me out. So when Portsmouth came along, it was good timing. I think that was just before Christmas, and I joined in January.
What was your relationship like with Martin Yole? Bearing in mind, he didn't sign you. You wasn't a player that he had personally wanted and invested interest in, if you like, at the time. He had inherited you with that squad. So what was it like for you to deal with Martin Yole? Is he someone that you sort of got on with?
Do you know, when I was playing, and because he was the assistant manager, I remember, to Santini, and he was fine, but obviously when he was the manager, he had his own ideas. Obviously, he brought in his own players. He brought in Edgar, he brought in Jermaine Jenis. Whether he brought them in or not, I'm not sure, because obviously the technical...
Damien Comolli.
Comolli might have brought them in, but it was obviously the club wanted me out because they tried to get me to go on loan to certain clubs. That was the only disappointing, I think, the way the club went about it, making me train with the kids, not involving me with the first team.
Would Joel come up to you and say, for instance, like today,
No,
Sean, you're not going to train with a kid, you're not going to train with the first team, you're going to be with the under-18s, for instance?
No, he hated confrontation, I think. Because I was a fiery character anyway, I'd like... So when you go out to train, so all the first team players would go out, they're standing on the pitch, maybe kicking the ball about. And I always remember I'm standing literally with Michael Carrick and Keno, and Martin Yoles to my left. And there's about 6 of the reserves training over in the corner with Clive Allen, only about 6 of them. And I saw Martin Yard at the corner of my eye. I said to Keane, I said, watch this. I bet he walks past me and walks over there and gets Clive Allen to call me to go over there. And they go, nah. What happens? Martin Yard walks past me, walks 300 yards to the right, tells Clive Allen, call Sean over, he's training with you today, walks back past me, and then all of a sudden I get a whistle from Clive Allen to say, come and train with the kids. And that was kind of, you knew that was kind of the end. If the manager's not going to have the respect enough to say you're training with the kids today. And I always remember it vividly because it made me laugh. And I just ran off, started laughing, and just went and trained with the kids. Doing a crossing and shooting session with 6 people and no goalies. it was demoralising. It's more embarrassing as a player because you think everyone's like looking at you thinking, oh no, look how he's being treated. But that's how football is. If, as a player, I think nowadays, if you want out, you can get out. But as a club, if they want you out, they can make it difficult, and things haven't changed.
What was that Tottenham squad like then? You got the likes of Robbie Keane in the team, Frederick Canute, Jermaine Defoe, obviously Michael Carrick, as we mentioned. What was it like as a unit, as a team, as a technical side? Yeah,
good bunch of lads, good core. Fantastic world-class players. It was definitely, Keno's gone on to do amazing things. Ledley King didn't train much, as I said before. He didn't train at all, and then be man of the match on the Saturday. Probably one of the best defenders I played with. Michael Carrick is probably one of the most underrated midfielders I played with. He was quicker than what people made out, but his vision, he could pass the ball forward a lot with both feet, break the lines. Very, very underrated player, and he was one of the main reasons why I probably wasn't getting in the team. And sometimes, if you're a better player, listen, you put your hands up. I remember I had the same thing at Portsmouth. I played from beginning of the season to January. I was the best I was ever playing for Portsmouth, and then in January they signed Lassana Diarra, and he came in. He done one training session, and I didn't play again for the rest of the season. But I couldn't knock on Harry Redknapp's door, could I? What am I going to say? I should be playing in front of him. Oh, no. I ended up playing a few more games, but out of position, because obviously my position was holding midfielder. But then I ended up playing a few games on the right or the left. But sometimes as a player, you hold your hand up and say, listen, I can't get in the team because he's better than me. But if I get given the opportunity, I'll do what I can.
Coincidentally, he went on to play for Real Madrid, so there might be some proof in the pudding in what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I can't complain. He had everything, to be fair. He was tenacious off the ball as well. If he would literally, if you got the ball, he'd be round your ankles biting, he'd nick the ball back. But when he was on the ball, he could go either way, he could break the lines. He had that 5-yard sprint, that kind of with the ball that you just couldn't catch him. Like I say, he went on, I think he could have had a better career than what he did. Obviously he played for Real Madrid, but few of the moves he had after that were a bit, he's going Russia, he's going here, I don't know, I'm not sure about that. But as a player, and quiet person, didn't really say much, but as a player, he was very, very good.
You had the privilege of playing with some great central defenders in your career, the likes of, you mentioned, Ledley King, Sol Campbell at Portsmouth, Chris Coleman at Fulham. What a player he was. How good was Ledley King? Do you think, without them injuries, do you think we could be talking about someone that went on to be a great player of his era?
Oh, unbelievable. Probably technically the best of it. Pardon me, technically the best defender I played with, both feet. Remember, he started centre midfield. He played a few centre midfield because his feet were that good. But he just never seemed to make a foul as a centre half. If you notice, he always could win the ball cleanly, kind of like Paul McGrath, Des Walker kind of players. He had everything. He had a knee problem, which I had the same knee problem as him, but he dealt with it. So he knew his body. He didn't train, whereas I had to train to play, which couldn't get fit. But he just seemed to, I don't know how he did it. He didn't train and then end up playing on the Saturday, man of the match. a lot of people say to me, who would you put in your back four? Who are the best, centre pairings? It would probably have to be him and Chris Coleman, just to create Chris Coleman's leadership and his talking and the way he is as a captain. But like I said, I still play with Sol Campbell, Sylvain Distin.
Distin, I forgot to mention him. What a player.
Gary Cahill,
Yes.
Bolton coming through. He was a very good defender. But Ledley and Cookie as a partnership would have been awesome. Definitely, that very, very good partnership. It was a shame, really, Ledley had to finish his career. Otherwise, obviously, I played with John Terry at under 21 level, but I thought Ledley was head and shoulders above most of the English defenders at the time. And I think if he wasn't injured, then maybe we would have had a longer and prosperous England career.
So you're not getting the rubber green at Tottenham. You've said you've had various issues with the management, with not getting sort of the respect you felt you deserved as a senior player. Portsmouth pick up the phone to, I presume, your agent. Harry Redknapp's been on the blower in the transfer window. He's made an offer for yourself, No Pamarot and Pedro Mendes on the same day, which is quite a bizarre thing in itself. Can you talk me through it from being inside it, from your point of view?
It never really happened, to be honest. We obviously we're all from the same club, so we all go down. I get the call from my agent, the manager. No one at Tottenham could call me. Then my agent called me when they've accepted a bid, free. I go down and meet Harry Redknapp next day in Pit Story. So I go down there, we're all in the office, I was easy, this player just wanted to play. Contract was basically the same contract, didn't have to do anything. Now I wish I should have tried and got a bit more money, but Noe didn't have an agent, I think, at the time. Something happened where Noe wasn't signing and the deal was going to fall through. So it was up in the air at one stage. But obviously, I think something happened, and I think Harry had a chat with you. I think Harry was like, what's going on? I want to sign all three, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Noe, what's happening with Noe? But at the end of the day, you can't tell someone what to do. Do you know what I mean? I'm here for me. I'll sign. It's not a problem. Get it done. Because I think Noe signed a little bit after, because I always remember me and Pedro having a picture with the gaffer, but Noe wasn't there. So I think he eventually came to it. I didn't think he understood what was going on, really, because he didn't speak that much good English at the time, Noe. But to be fair, we eventually lived in the Marriott Hotel, me, Noe and Pedro, for about 3 months before we all sorted out our gaffs. But he was a good lad, but we eventually signed and then turned up at the Portsmouth training ground, and to be honest, it was a bit of a shithole, if I'm honest. The training ground was literally porta cabins, the showers were cold, but everyone just seemed to get on with it, and it brought everyone together, and it was like refreshing, really. As players, I wasn't really bothered. As long as I was going to get an opportunity to play, which I did, I was happy, so I just got on with it.
That season, well, when you joined Portsmouth in January, they were so far adrift at the bottom, everybody had considered they were gone. There was no way they were coming back. It's a tale in itself of success, determination, player power, manager tactics. Talk to me from what it was like being inside of that season.
Oh, it was hard. I remember I think we went away to Birmingham and lost 5-0. And then after that game, we went on a great run. It was like that game kind of changed it. We went on a great run after that. I always remember coming off against Birmingham, we lost 5-0. I was like, we're down. That is so bad. The gaffer absolutely annihilated us the next day. And then I think we played Man City. Was it Man City? And in the week leading up to it, Pedro was unbelievable anyway. Pedro could score a goal from anywhere, both feet. He was banging in goals in training, left, right and centre. And I remember, as soon as it dropped to him against Man City, I said, this is goal, bang, top corner. Then it dropped again, bang, top corner. We ended up winning 2-1 and going on such a great run and staying up. It was like, but that was probably, those are the two games, losing 5-0 and then winning that game 2-1 kind of changed the whole emphasis. We're like, actually, we got a chance here. And because we had such a good bunch of lads that stuck together, I think that was the main core. And obviously a little bit of quality. We had Benjani came in as well, who, to be fair to him, had an absolute stinker when he first came in. Couldn't hit a barn door, but he worked his socks off. And as a midfield player, if you've got someone up front that's working his socks off, making it difficult for the defenders, it makes your job easier. So he eventually came good and scored a few goals. And to be fair, I think who did we beat to stay up? I think we beat Wigan to stay up, which was obviously a fantastic achievement from where we were. From where we were. I think I got subbed again. Harry always used to take me off after 65 minutes that season, so it was a bit disappointing because I was always a sulker. If I didn't get my own way, I would sulk. My missus would tell you that, or my ex-missus anyway, but that's a different story.